Essex build lead at Oval after Surrey horror show. Division 1 champion Surrey entered the final game of the season, looking to complete an unbeaten season. Their final hurdle being the visitors Essex, who achieved the feat last season. Fresh off 11 wickets last week, Porter picked up where he'd left off for Essex as he saw Stoneman caught behind by Wicket. Porter showed no fear against the Surrey top order as Roy was dismissed next, trapped LBW with the champions 23 for 2. It was an England pairing steadying the ship for the hosts, with Pope joining Burns in finding the boundary. The morning session had definitely belonged to Essex, as Harmer made a one-handed catch to dismiss Burns off the bowling of Quinn, Surrey out of sorts at 41 for 3. With his very next delivery, Quinn trapped Folkes LBW for a golden duck. Jack survived the hat-trick ball, but the hosts were in bad shape. He may have survived the hat-trick ball, but Jack still departed for a duck, completely beaten by a Cook delivery, removing his stumps with the score 48 for 5. Surrey's unbeaten record was in serious jeopardy as Patel made just 5 before being trapped LBW by Cook. The morning nightmare for the hosts showed no signs of slowing down as Porter this time drew the LBW call against Clark as he departed for a duck at 55 for 7. Surrey were pulled out of the firing line moments later as lunch was called, with the hosts reeling at 57 for 7. Essex had certainly flipped the script at the Oval and stunned the champions. The break made no difference for the hosts as Morkel edged behind to Wicket to give Porter his 4th wicket of the innings. THROWBACK attempted to try and take the game to Essex, but only succeeded in exposing his middle stump to a grateful Cook. The shocking Surrey innings was ended by Cook claiming his 4th wicket as Pope sent his shot into the air for a Bapara catch, the 67 posted being the worst first innings total for them since 1986. After such a poor showing with the bat, the hosts' bowling attack went about trying to recover the contest, Morkel bowling Brown for just 2. Wesley managed to pick up boundaries for Essex as they attempted to avoid the kind of collapse that left Surrey in tatters. With VJ for company, Wesley led the visitors toward the hosts' total without too much trouble. VJ continued his impressive form since arriving at Essex, with his half-century coming off 71 deliveries. Wesley joined VJ with a 50 of his own, coming off 95 balls as the visitors continued to build their first innings lead. T arrived with Essex sitting at 130 for 1, their lead already 63 runs. Wesley and VJ's partnership at the break sat at 118, and Surrey's bowling attack didn't seem to have any idea on how to trouble them. The mammoth second wicket stand between VJ and Wesley was finally ended in the evening, THROWBACK getting VJ to feather a shot behind into the gloves of Folkes, Essex still sitting pretty at 158 for 2. The visitors had managed to reach 197 for 2 with stumps called at the Oval. A standout knock for Wesley on 93 not out had provided Essex with the perfect response after Surrey's unexpected 67 all out. The hosts with serious work to do to somehow maintain their unbeaten season. Essex build massive lead over Surrey. In surely the shock of day 1 across the championship, Surrey's hopes of an unbeaten season took a huge blow as they were skittled out for 67 by Essex. The visitors, with Tom Wesley 93 not out, entered the second day of action confident of reigning on the newly crowned champions parade. Surrey needed wickets fast, and Clark obliged as he trapped Lawrence LBW. Moments later, and the Essex danger man Wesley brought up his century with back-to-back boundaries off Morkel. Bapara wasn't able to partner Wesley for long as he made just 8 before being bowled by Verdi to leave Essex 236 for 4. Tendusgarter was next out to support Wesley as the duo took the visitors' lead past 200. THROWBACK was the man to dismiss the Essex skipper, an edged effort caught by Pope to leave the score at 276 for 5. Wesley's monster innings finally came to an end on 134, edging a Clark delivery with Folkes diving to make the catch behind the stumps. The dismissal brought about lunch with Essex 282 for 6 and a lead of 215 runs. The visitors were hunting down a fourth batting point in the second session. With overs running out to achieve it, Wicket brought them closer with a 6 off Ferdy. Harmer and Wicket were unable to claim the fourth batting point, but did take the Essex lead past 300, with the latter claiming a half-century. History was made at the Oval as Wicket and Harmer's 7th wicket stand beat the previous Essex best against Surrey of 124 set back in 1910. With Essex 441 for 6, the pair headed into tea, with their side looking in a good position to end the hosts' unbeaten run. A blow Wicket received just before tea was enough to see him retire hurt during the break. Porter now at the crease with Harmer. Porter couldn't form the same bond with Harmer as he lost his wicket to THROWBACK, LBW the method. In his following spell, THROWBACK grabbed another, a bouncer catching the glove of Cook and carrying through to folks behind. Harmer managed to make it to a hard-fought century for Essex, and it signalled a declaration with the visitors heading off at 477 for 8. Surrey heading back out to bat, knowing they would need to survive for over 2 days in order to preserve their unbeaten season. Pepper was in behind the stumps due to Wicket's injury as Stoneman and Burns peppered the boundary. In an attempt to dig out a Porter delivery, Burns only succeeded in lobbing the ball back to the bowler to leave his side 63 for 1. Stoneman with Roy for company managed to make it through to stumps with Surrey 88 for 1. The evening had seen the hosts' most positive innings of the contest, but they were still some way off avoiding their first defeat of the season. Essex unable to unseat stubborn Surrey. Centuries from Tom Wesley and Simon Harmer helped Essex take charge at the Oval on day 2. Surrey, already 322 runs behind into their second innings, were faced with batting for as long as possible to have any chance of maintaining their unbeaten season. Coles, drafted in for the injured Cook, was welcomed to the game with a couple of boundaries from Roy. Stoneman also seemed to be in the mood for piling on runs as he brought about his half-century with a 6. Roy joined Stoneman on 50 not long after, sending Coles for 4 and then a huge 6. It was the turn of Essex to toil in the field as Stoneman and Roy managed to take their stand past 100. Surrey's good morning showed no signs of slowing down as Roy brought up his century. A dominant morning display from the hosts was brought to an end for lunch with the score 210 for 1. Stoneman and Roy enjoying the conditions as Essex for the first time in the contest looked second best. Surrey still with it all to do though to save their unbeaten season. Having spent just over 3 hours at the crease, Roy's knock was ended on 128, a Quinn delivery smashed to Nijar at deep square leg, Surrey 244 for 2 and still 166 runs behind Essex. With Roy gone, Stoneman followed his partner off shortly after, Harmer claiming the wicket with the Surrey man departing on 86. Pope and Folkes were the next pairing in the middle, with the former taking the lead in searching out boundaries. Several 4s off Coles saw Pope bringing up his half-century, an exciting knock from the England man including 10 boundaries. Tea at the Oval was called with Pope heading off at 77 not out and Surrey 357 for 3. The hosts were now just 53 runs away from avoiding an innings defeat. Essex would be hoping to take some wickets in the evening to avoid the disappointing prospect of a draw. Folkes didn't hang around with Pope for too long after tea, moving across his stumps to a Quinn delivery and drawing a call of LBW. Pope picked up where he'd left off before the break, a 4 and 6 from a Quinn over, sending him to his 97-ball century. Jacks helped Surrey take the lead for the first time in the contest, but the hosts' joy was short-lived. The crucial wicket of Pope was taken courtesy of a Coles delivery and LBW shout, the England man heading off with 114 and his side 418 for 5. Patel was now alongside Jacks and a 4 off Harmer saw him take Surrey past 450, their lead though only standing at 40. The Essex bowlers were looking to keep things tight but couldn't stop Jacks from reaching his maiden 50. Stumps arrived at the Oval with the Division 1 champions showing fight at 477 for 5. With a 67-run deficit and still 5 wickets to take, Essex would need a fast start on the final day of action to break Surrey's unbeaten streak. Essex denies Surrey unbeaten season and world record in the process. Surrey entered the final day of play at the Oval with a realistic chance of preserving their unbeaten season, thanks in part to centuries from Jason Roy and Ollie Pope on day 3. Essex would know that if they could take the hosts' remaining 5 wickets early, they would have every chance of spoiling the champions' party. It didn't take long for the first breakthrough, Coles tempting Jacks into a drive outside off and an edge finding its way to Harmer. An ideal start for the visitors, with Surrey 479 for 6 and just 69 runs in front. Clark joined Patel at the crease and the pair wasted no time finding the boundary in an effort to extend their lead. A series of boundaries from Clark saw the hosts score past 500, the lead now over 100. In an attempt to make the breakthrough, Coles decided to go around the wicket and was rewarded. Clark's attempt at a drive carrying behind to pepper. Morkel was next to the crease but unable to deal with an invigorated Coles, his shot finding Brown at gully and departing for a duck. Surrey's lead at 122 with only 2 wickets left. A real moment of drama before lunch as Coles completed his fifer with Patel caught behind. TV replays suggested no bat and pad, but no overruling is used in the championship. There was no debating the next wicket as Porter bowled Dernbach for a duck to end the Surrey innings at 541. Essex with 1 over before lunch and heading into the break 5 for no loss, chasing 132 for victory. Verdi was handed the ball after the interval but saw Brown whipping him away for 4 early. Morkel was next to try and make a breakthrough and did just that. A leg cutter finding the top of off and dismissing Vijay for just 2. Essex 13 for 1 with 119 still needed. Wesley joined Brown in the middle and both managed to find the boundary off another Verdi over. After leaking runs, things took a positive turn for Verdi as his spin drew an edge from Brown with Clark making the catch. The visitors 2 wickets down, 106 runs required. Lawrence arrived at the crease and showed no fear attacking these Surrey bowlers, a 6 off Verdi his reward. With Morkel out of the attack, Dernbach was next to carve through the Essex top order, Lawrence edging his delivery into the hands of Clark, 42 for 3, 90 runs for the win. The Surrey bowlers were starting to grow in confidence, Verdi's delivery drawing an edge from Bopara onto his pad and into the grasp of Jacks, the visitors wobbling at 47 for 4 and 132 starting to look a difficult ask. Hope of an unbeaten season had returned to the Oval as Dernbach's bouncer saw Wesley swipe an effort to Clark, the visitors 55 for 5, still 77 short of victory. Morkel returned to the attack for Surrey but was greeted with a boundary by Tendusgarter. Wheater was partnering the Essex captain and swept Verdi to the boundary twice to creep closer to their target. The tumbling of wickets wasn't over though, as Morkel drew an edge from Wheater, carrying to Patel at second slip. Morkel was on fire when 3 balls later, Harmer edged behind to Folkes to leave for a duck. Essex 97 for 7, 35 runs needed and the game well and truly in the balance. Tendusgarter was running out of partners, but Porter managed to bed in quickly with a boundary off a loose Morkel ball. The prospect of a world record win for the hosts was still up for grabs when a Morkel Yorker drew an LBW call against Porter, Essex with 2 wickets left and 21 needed. After a debate over extending play before tea, Coles looked to make it a non-issue with a boundary off Dernbach, 12 runs required for the visitors. With victory in their sights, Essex shot themselves in the foot. A miscommunication between the men in the middle seeing Coles run out by Jacks. High drama at the Oval, 1 wicket left and 8 runs needed to win.
That's it, it's done. Ryan Tendusgarter is the hero here today. What a brilliant innings from the Essex skipper. He goes past 50.
So Surrey fall short of a world record win. Tendusgarter's half-century just getting Essex over the line. The hosts still finishing the season atop the Division 1 table, the visitors cementing 3rd with their nail-biting victory.